Today's reading is from the book of Joshua in the Bible, reading chapter 3 from the English Standard Version, the ESV. Then Joshua rose early in the morning, and they set out from Shittim. And they came to the Jordan, he and all the people of Israel, and lodged there before they passed over. At the end of 3 days, the officers went through the camp and commanded the people, as soon as you see the Ark of Covenant of the Lord your God being carried by the Levitical priest, then you must set out from this place and follow it. Yet there shall be a distance between you and about 2,000 cubits in length. Do not come near it, in order that you may know the way you shall go, for you have not passed this way before. Then Joshua said to the people, consecrate yourself, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. And Joshua said to the priests, take up the Ark of Covenant and pass on before the people. So they took up the Ark of the Covenant and went before the people. The Lord said to Joshua, today I will begin to exalt you in the sight of all Israel, that they may know that as I was with Moses, so I'll be with you. And as for you, command the priests who bear the Ark of Covenant, then when you come to the brink of the waters of Jordan, you should stand still in the Jordan. And Joshua said to the people of Israel, come here and listen to the words of the Lord your God. And Joshua said, here is how you shall know that the living Lord God is among you, and that he will without fail drive out from before you the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Hivites, the Perizzites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, and the Jebusites. Behold, the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord of all the earth is passing over before you into the Jordan. Now, therefore, take 12 men from the tribes of Israel, from each tribe a man, and when the soles of the feet of the priests bearing the Ark of the Lord of all the earth, shall rest in the waters of the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan shall be cut off from flowing, and the waters coming down from above shall stand in one heap. So when the people set out from their tents to pass over the Jordan with the priest bearing the Ark of the Covenant before the people, and as soon as those bearing the Ark had come as far as the Jordan, the feet of the priest bearing the Ark were dipped in the brink of the water. Now the Jordan overflows all its bank throughout the time of harvest. The waters coming from the above stood and rose up in the heap very far away at Adam, the city that is beside Saratan, and those flowing down towards the sea of the Arabah, the salt sea, were completely cut off, and the people passed over opposite Jericho. Now the priest bearing the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord stood firmly on dry ground in the midst of the Jordan, and all Israel was passing over on dry ground until all the nation finished passing over the Jordan. The next reading is Joshua chapter 5. I'm reading from the CEV. After Israel had crossed the Jordan, the Lord said to Joshua, tell one man from each of the 12 tribes to pick up a large rock from where the priest is standing, and tell the man to set up those rocks as a monument at the place where you camp tonight. Joshua chose 12 men, and then he called them together and said, go to the middle of the riverbed where the sacred chest is, and pick up a large rock. Carry it on your shoulder to your camp. There are 12 of you, so there will be one rock for each tribe. Someday your children will ask, why are these rocks here? Then you can tell them how the water stopped flowing when the chest was being carried across the river. Those rocks will always remind our people of what happened here today. The men followed the instruction that the Lord had given Joshua. They picked up 12 rocks, one for each tribe, and carried them to the camp, and where they put them down. Joshua set a monument next to the place where the priest was standing. This monument was also made of 12 large rocks. It is still there in the middle of the river. The army got ready for battle and crossed the Jordan with everyone else. They marched quickly past the sacred chest into the desert near Jericho. 40,000 soldiers from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and East Manasseh led the way. As Moses had ordered, the priests stayed right where they were until the people had followed the orders that the Lord had given Moses and Joshua. Then the watch as the priests carried the chest the rest of the way across. Joshua the Lord said, "Tell the priests to come up from Jordan and bring the chest with them." So Joshua went over to the priests and told them what the Lord had said. As soon as the priests carried the chest past the highest place, the flowed waters of Jordan had reached. The river flooded its bank again. That's what the Lord showed the Israelites, that Joshua was their leader. For the rest of Joshua's life, they respected him as they respected Moses. It was the 10th day of the first month of the year when Israel crossed the Jordan River. They had set up a camp at Gilgal, which was the east of the land controlled by Jericho. The men who had carried the 12 rocks of the Jordan brought them to Joshua, and they made them into a monument. And Joshua told the people, "Years from now, your children will ask you, why these rocks are here. Tell them, the Lord our God dried up the Jordan River so we could walk across. He did the same thing here for us that he did for our people at the Red Sea, because he wants everyone on earth to know how powerful he is, and he wants us to worship only him." I read chapter 5 of Joshua, this time from the Amplified. Now it happened when all the kings of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan to the west, and all the kings of the Canaanites who were by the sea heard that the Lord had dried up the waters of the Jordan before the Israelites until they had crossed over, their hearts melted in despair, and there was no fighting spirit left in them any longer because of the Israelites and what God had done for them. At that time, the Lord said to Joshua, "Make for yourself flint knives and circumcise the new generation of the sons of Israel as was done before." So Joshua made flint knives, circumcised the sons of Israel at Gibeath Haraloth. This is the reason why Joshua circumcised them. All the people who came out of Egypt, who were males, all the men of war had died in the wilderness along the way. After they left Egypt, all the males who came out were circumcised, but all the males who were born in the wilderness on the way as they left Egypt had not been circumcised. For the Israelites walked 40 years in the wilderness until all the nation, that is, the men of war who came out of Egypt, died because they did not listen to the voice of the Lord. To them, the Lord had sworn an oath that he would not let them see the land which he had promised their fathers to give us, a land of abundance flowing with milk and honey. So it was to the uncircumcised sons, whom he had raised up in their place, whom Joshua circumcised, because circumcision had not been performed on the way. Then, when they had finished circumcising all the males of the nations, they stayed in their places in the camp until they were healed. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "This day I have rolled away the reproach, derision, ridicule of Egypt from you." So the name of that place is called Gilgal, rolling to this day. While the Israelites camped at Gilgal, they observed the Passover on the evening of the fourth day of the month on the desert plains of Jericho. On the day after Passover, on that very day, they ate some of the produce of the land, unleavened bread, roasted grain, Leviticus 23:14, in close bracket, and the manna ceased on the day after they had eaten some of the produce of the land, so that the Israelites no longer had manna, but they ate some of the produce of the land of Canaan during that year. Now, when Joshua was by Jericho, he looked up, and behold, a man was standing opposite him with his drawn sword in his hand. And Joshua went to him and said to him, "Are you for us or for our adversaries?" He said, "No, rather, I have come now as captain of the army of the Lord." Then Joshua fell on his face towards the earth and bowed down and said to him, "What does my Lord have to say to his servant?" The captain of the Lord's army said to Joshua, "Remove your sandals from your feet, because the place where you're standing is holy, set apart to the Lord." And Joshua did so.